Not long ago, a friend of mine gave me some contact information, his new phone number and new address, and asked me not to store it in my phone. Well, that's strange, I thought. Usually I wouldn't think twice about writing someone's number and home address in my phone. This digital Rolodex allows me to keep a record of how to get in touch with anyone in my life with the press of a button. So why not record my friend's information? Well, he didn't trust my phone. In this video, I want to talk about contacts and why you might not want to store your contacts in your phone or share your list with apps. And I'll talk about more private ways to store them. Let's get started by understanding why our contacts lists are super important. They're filled with the personal information of all our friends, family, colleagues, and businesses we use. They include names, numbers, email addresses, home addresses, birthday, work, and social media information. With this information in hand, someone could create an incredibly detailed social graph or interconnected web of our personal relationships and identifying details. Then imagine how much that web grows if they got access to a bunch of people's contacts lists and put them all together. It's the kind of information that data brokers salivate over because it allows unprecedented insight into consumer behavior, political leanings, and even potential vulnerabilities that could be exploited. The humble contact list is a goldmine of data. Okay, but no one can see my contact list, right? It's safely stored in my private phone. Well, what if Apple and Google have been collecting all our contacts when we write them into our phones? It's hard to tell what they're doing because both Apple and Google are opaque ecosystems, so let's look at what we do know. On iPhones, for example, when sending a text in the Messages app, the app immediately sends the recipient's number or email to Apple's servers in order to check for iMessage availability. We know that this information is logged by Apple and associated with the user's identity, and there have been reports about Apple sharing this data with the police. There are also many Apple apps that access contacts without asking the user. The App Store, for example, accesses your contacts, and you can see how frequently it does this by looking at your app privacy report, as shown here by the MISC research team. The fitness and podcast apps access your contacts, and Apple offers collaboration features between contacts through things like Game Center, SharePlay, sharing fitness goals, and Document Share. These collaboration activities would leave traces of this contact information on Apple's servers. So is Apple collecting it all and storing it? Well, given how much data Apple already collects about their users, I would give a strong yes. Google also collects the contacts on Android phones through various app and services interactions. By default, Android devices will sync contacts with your Google account. Many apps like Google Messages and Gmail use your contact information to check for service availability, synchronize contacts, and other things. On both Apple and Google, your contacts are not end-to-end encrypted, which means that whatever contacts are swept up are visible to their centralized servers. In fact, when Apple added advanced data protection to iCloud, one of the few things they excluded from the data being end-to-end encrypted was contacts. So the contacts swept up in app usage and also through syncing accounts on Google and Apple are all accessible to them. And then there's the interesting point that both Android and iOS have a system API for applications to access device contacts. And this doesn't change regardless of whether iCloud or Google Account Sync is turned on or off. What does this tell us? Well, that if you disable sync, your contacts may not be synced across your devices and services, but they can still leave your device. On top of this sharing that already goes on in our phones, just by virtue of using Android and iOS, we also give all kinds of third-party apps permission to access our contacts list. Some of this is intentional, but there are also nefarious apps that ask for access to contacts specifically because they are selling them. The moment you grant any app access to your contacts, remember that you're handing over a wealth of sensitive information. So no, our contact list isn't private. This data ultimately ends up in the hands of countless data brokers, packaged and sold to the highest bidder, including advertisers, political campaigns, people search websites, and law enforcement agencies. It's a giant industry built on the backs of our personal information, often without our knowledge or consent. But here's the most important part of this whole video. This personal information in our contact list isn't ours to give away. Each entry represents a real person with their own preferences and privacy concerns. By simply storing their information in our default contact list, we potentially expose details that they may not want shared. This brings me back to the story of my friend from the start. He specifically told me not to store his information in my phone. He didn't want his phone number shared with the world. And while I didn't realize it at the time, by saving it in my contacts list, I was effectively volunteering that information on his behalf. So what are more private ways to store your contacts? If you're on iPhone and Android, first you can download your contacts as a .vcf file so that you have a local backup. VCF stands for vCard file, which is a standard file format for electronic business cards and is widely used for sharing contact data between programs and devices. Be careful once you've downloaded these files though, because VCF is designed to be easily imported, so it's prone to accidental installs simply by clicking the file. Getting my contacts list out of the walled gardens of iOS and Android was super annoying, and both required me to either sync them to Apple and Google's centralized servers first, or trust a third-party app to export my contacts for me. Once this is done, you should absolutely review your app permissions to see which ones have access to your contacts, and revoke permissions that you don't want. Then you can disable contact sync on your device, which will stop the overt upload of your contacts to these centralized servers. But as we already mentioned, there are all kinds of other ways that these operating systems are likely getting access to your contacts. Given that, and the fact that these contacts are an integral part of these ecosystems, it can be easy to accidentally start syncing your contacts with the cloud again. So using a third-party contact app with locked down permissions can be safer. There are many third-party contact managers that you might use. Simple Contacts Pro is one good option if you're on an Android device. It's open source, ad-free, and a local-only contact manager. Its automatic backup feature, which can be enabled in settings, does so only locally, making sure that nothing gets synced to the cloud. The only permission it requests is contact access and phone access so that you can make calls, making you confident that your contacts stay only in your phone. The free Pro version in F-Droid will eliminate ads and analytics. The paid Pro version on the Play Store doesn't have ads either or collect analytics. However, in its data policy, it states that your email address and phone number may be shared with third parties for app functionality. The Play Store version also has a VIP customer support button, which the F-Droid version doesn't have. Instead of a third-party contact manager, you might also consider some kind of encrypted storage for your contacts. For example, if you're a journalist and you have particularly sensitive contacts. Some people I know use the password manager KeePassXC, which will create a local and encrypted database for your contacts, making it an incredibly private way to store them. Another solution is to use an encrypted notes app like Standard Notes. You can sync Standard Notes across devices, making your contacts easily accessible from multiple places, and it's end-to-end encrypted so only you can access them. Or perhaps you want your contacts built in to one of the communication platforms you use. Proton Contacts is a great alternative and is part of the Proton Mail suite. It provides end-to-end encrypted storage for your contacts and makes it super easy to autofill your contacts in your emails. But the ultimate solution that I recommend for contact privacy is using a Graphene phone. We talk a lot about Graphene on the show because it's a great tool for privacy, especially with how it handles your contacts. Graphene doesn't send your contacts list off to any centralized Graphene servers. It's actually private on your device. And if you need to share your contacts list with any app that you install, they have something called contact scopes. Rather than granting blanket access to your full contact list to any app that requires it, you can choose exactly what information in the contacts list you want the app to be able to see. I exported my contacts list from my iOS and Android phones and imported them into my Graphene phone, taking a huge step towards better privacy for this sensitive contact information. If I ever want to get my contacts off Graphene, there's a simple button that says Export Contacts that will create a VCF file. Graphene's approach to contact management is a great example of how technology can be designed to empower users rather than exploit them, and actually allows me to not just protect my own data, but respect protect the privacy of everyone in my contact list. The consequence of allowing our contact list to be collected extends far beyond just targeted advertising. This information can be used to manipulate our political views, undermine our social bonds, even threaten our physical safety. It's time to take back control of our contacts and the sensitive data that they contain. By disabling automatic syncing, regularly reviewing and managing our app's contact permissions, and using privacy-focused apps and services, we can reduce the indiscriminate harvesting of our social graph. Our contacts deserve to be treated with the utmost care and respect. I get so many emails each week thanking me for these free videos that we put out to help people reclaim their privacy. It's so awesome to see. Now, if you like what we do, consider supporting us. We don't have show sponsors. We rely entirely on community donations to do what we do. Visit nbtv.media/support to become a supporter of our channel. And thank you so much for spreading the word about what we do. Oh hi, you're still here. You might have noticed this new t-shirt that I am wearing. So a ton of NBTV swag just dropped that also supports our channel. So if you want to support what we do and also rep some awesome t-shirts, visit shop.nbtv.media and send me a pic of you wearing any of our stuff. I know that you're going to look great.